Last we left off, your mission for the Infinite Alliance to re-establish the divining network was complete. After an unsettling experience, to say the least, it was a great reprieve to be on the road headed back to Karden. On your journey home, your newfound ally Coulson had a change of heart with regards to his path and elected to return to the aid of the refugees of Brunderkiln, knowing your paths would be crossing again in the future. On your journey east, you made your way into the village of Merkmire. Within a short period of time, made quite the impression on the dour populace. In the morning, as newfound local stars, you then made your way north to the by the Taken Road to Irongard and the Draken Tunnel beneath the Silver Mountains, which would bring you into the kingdom of Candorne. At the gates of the tunnel, you were met with an armed inquisition and search. This toll route seemed to take more than its fair share at times, and though some of you skated by with a wink and a smile, some were less than fortunate. DeCrane's stolen and illegal weaponry was nearly seized before Andy's portentous intervention altered that path. However, Enid found herself at the mercy of Dirge, an intimidating monster of a man who extracted far more than the 5 gold toll from her coffers. Nevertheless, tolls paid and no further questions, you found your way under the mountain and into Irongard. This military settlement has been built into the walls of this tunnel and include a series of structures that wind up high into the mountain walls. You see a market street of active stalls, peddlers and people milling about, soldiers in and out of armor, various businesses and homes, all within this trading post, of which you gather a few hundred people, primarily soldiers, live alongside all manner of traveling traders, artisans, and farmers before they move on to sell their wares across the realm. As you venture deeper into the outpost, your eyes were drawn to a trio of luxurious carriages parked in front of a theater-like building. Gilded and slightly out of place in this space, however, as this sight caught your eye, a whistle caught your ear, and your attention was drawn to Isaac Everhart, skulking in shadow across the thoroughfare from this structure. He beckoned you to follow as he disappeared into the shadow of this alley, and we begin today.
Isaac, he's so cool.
I literally run up to him and give him a very big hug. I try, and we'll see.
He does not allow that. How much pressure do you put onto this? Because he would...
I'll back off immediately.
He would, like... If he sees you rushing, like, as he kind of, like, is turned into the shadow, like, hand to the hilt of his blade and a arm out, like, this is not a normal response to him. But if you slow your roll, he, like, kind of, it's a little awkward pause where he, like, realizes, like, that was probably, like, too aggressive of a response to a hug. And he just kind of, like, chills out. But, like, there was a moment where he wasn't sure exactly what was going to happen there. You're prepared for the worst.
Ali, I think I said it at the end of the game. I don't know if it was in the recording or not, but I split my money with you because you had to give away all of your money. So you should have. Let me pull it up. Inventory. You should have 68 gold because we could not lose the loot.
Right.
We couldn't.
No.
Thank you.
As Isaac beckons you into the shadow, you guys all kind of come and meet Isaac kind of tucked into it's about 10-15 feet deep between these two structures. Before the back of this alley is just mountain wall, a couple of like crates and barrels and things stored here from who knows when, but he kind of leans up against one on the back and looks you all up and down and says, I admit, I'm really impressed that you've made it this far.
You would not believe the things that we've been through in the last 3 weeks. It's been wild.
He puts a hand up just to, like, puts his finger to his mouth. This place has all sorts of eyes and ears, of which I don't always trust. Any of your adventures, all of your adventures, I wish to hear about, and most importantly, the old man. But that will wait for the morrow, if it's all the same to you. Somewhere safer.
Sure. Yeah.
You are well, though, clearly.
Yeah, I think so.
Not dead.
Not dead. That's all we can ask for, it would seem. Nonetheless, congratulations on your success. The network is back up and running. The Nexus received a slew of inputs a few days ago. Nostrov has been deciphering the 10 visions that have come our way.
10?
He theorizes things have been suppressed and building up and pent up until the network was reestablished, and then everything that had been building for the last several months was unleashed in one go. It was a jumble of all things kind of intertwined. He's been working the last couple of days almost nonstop to unravel, though I'm sure he will be happy to share with you when you speak tomorrow.
Dr. Crane, maybe that's what you saw.
Guys, don't talk about it. He just said don't talk about
Okay, well, we did. I
crazy
didn't say anything specific. Just
What I saw was disheartening and downright scary. So, I don't know if this is it. But if we can get down to the bottom of it, that would be helpful.
Disheartening and scary is often the way with prophecy and vision, so I would not be surprised. But appreciate it, Augustus. This is best saved for a safer place. Tonight, take your stay in the city here. There are places that are comfortable and food and drink should you indulge. And of course, and he kind of into a pouch tosses out 4 pouches of gold to each of you. Says was the 100 for your 4 weeks of work and an additional 150 bonus for services rendered. So a total of 250 gold.
Jesus.
Each.
Oh my gosh.
What?
So please enjoy your stay for a night. If you're in need of stocking up on things, all manner of equipment and gear can be found here. There are trustworthy traders, some less so. Keep an eye out for those who are potentially criminally affiliated.
How will we know? Should we ask them?
No, I would not go so direct. Should you wish to see the morning light.
Okay.
However, if you, he gestures to, like, kind of looks around for a second and says, you have that book you draw in?
Oh,
Yeah.
good book.
May I?
I have so many more birds. Yeah, do you want to see them? Okay, let's start at the beginning.
He just goes to snatch it from your hand.
Yeah, I do not resist.
Snatches it, flips to like the back page, goes like 3 or 4 pages in from the back, and draws like a thin like pencil, and sketches out a couple of symbols. And he flips them around and says, these are this is what's known as it's a underspeak a criminal language. Thieves can't. Typically they'll note certain things. He points to one and says, fences and dealers will typically trade at a post like this. They'll mark it so it is known to those of the same ilk. It's a circle with like 3 vertical lines. He shows one that is in kind of an inverted or a triangle point down, with a circle around it. Says that's like a safe house place for the criminal underworld. Typically the Midnighters are who we are most familiar with in Karden, but there are others, and they typically will follow a similar line of symbol. And then he also points to one that is 3 like diagonal slashes kind of stacked. And he says, this here spells danger, typically to warn other criminals from entering for various reasons, typically a law.
Okay, wait, so just to be clear, are these like we should be looking out for these signs to avoid these places? Or like, oh, these are where the criminals aren't welcome, so you'll be fine. Or like, check out this one. This one's fine. I'm trying to figure out the vibes here.
I don't really care, if I'm honest.
Okay.
If you decide you want to do this, you have free will. Do what you want. But
Okay.
I'm giving you some information so you don't walk in blind and lose all this money that you've made. But if you're looking to spend it in certain ways, now you'll know.
Yeah, it works for me.
God, I love our new Discord for logging these notes.
He starts to kind of just gather himself. He seems like he's about to kind of head off. If there's any other things that you wish to chat about with him.
I don't think so. He told us where to meet him tomorrow.
That it's going to be the last thing he says, but if you want to ask, go ahead.
No, that's all good.
As he kind of gathers his kind of cloak around, pops the collar up, keep a low profile, says, looking for a place to stay. The Underhill Arms is comfortable enough, low-key. But regardless, meet back here by first light. We'll be leaving shortly thereafter. Be there or you'll be taking the long way home.
I'm so tired of walking, so
This will be much faster.
great.
Don't be late.
Okay.
And he steps out of the shadows and into the thoroughfare once more.
One day I will get that man to hug me.
One day I'm going to fight that man and beat him.
We can have drinks.
Maybe at the same time. You hug him, hold him. I'm just going to sock him right in the face. Out of respect, because I respect him so much.
That's been a bit of a 10. Remember last time we had to... That went not great. Okay, is any stuff we need? Kyle, do you want us just to fly through any errands we want to do?
Shopping episode, 4 hours of shopping coming right up, viewer.
If there are
Really
anything
fast.
that you guys want to specifically get, if you want to have some kind of social interaction in Ironguard, you're welcome to. Otherwise, my intent here is just to
Press fast
purchase what's needed, what you want. Have an evening if you want to, if you guys want to play through like just the evening of just the four of you, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I have nothing more to really add into the evening, so I leave it to the four of you.
I think we could use. Oh, you would.
I was just going to try and get rid of this scary ass flail that I've been carrying around. I'd love to sell it or trade it for something, but I don't need to RP that at all.
Well, two elements go into that. You are welcome to try to just sell it as a normal flail, in which you will get the price of a regular flail.
What if I go to the fence?
That will require playing through.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay.
Let me talk to the group about it. How would you guys feel about... I almost got caught with that crazy flail from the tower in the grotto where we had to fight down. Do you remember the flail that was crazy and it was like, even if he like kind of missed us, it would like hit us and hurt us? I hate it. It's spooky scary. And I've been carrying it around in my backpack and it's so pointy, it like jabs me when I'm walking. So I'd love to get rid of it. And I think we should go to, and I'll point to the first 3 vertical lines, which are for the fences. I think we should go to one of these guys.
Yeah, and just be careful that there's menace around, but I guess as long as we avoid, and I press the point to the other symbol, something with this, then we should be good as long as we avoid the god.
Like Nettie got her loot, maybe I could get like some drumsticks or like a saxophone. Do they have saxophones here, do you think? Has that been invented?
Has the saxophone been invented?
So like we'd be like an actual real band.
Yeah.
I have 0 musical talent, but I'm happy to carry heavy things. What's that person called?
Roadie? I think they're a roadie.
Ah, okay. I could do that.
Maybe we're the road band?
Okay.
Star band? Stars? The Star band? Stars is a band. We really like Stars Canadian band, but so we can't take their copyright. So do you guys want to come with me, or do you want to? You guys could wait at Underhill Arms. I'm totally.
I think at least one person should go with you. I think like if all of us get, it might be like even more suspicious if all 4 of us go in there. And I am notoriously terrible at telling when people are trying to lie to me about the value of things, so I might not be useful. But it could be fun.
Maybe you and me.
That's what I'm thinking.
We'll handle it. Trust us.
Okay, I mean, I got some errands to run anyway, but where do we want to meet after you tried to not get your heads cut off by a fence?
Oh, so aggressive. It'll just be a fence, like a bunch of like, I don't know, vertical lines all like put up. Underhill Arms, where
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Do we know what that is?
we can just ask around. Isaac's pretty low key.
Okay.
Admittedly, the place is not particularly big. Like, there's only a couple hundred people here. Like, it's village-sized. Within 10 minutes, you see the whole thing.
Remember, you guys really love to like really get to like know people and like
I
make
love
a big deal out of a lot of stuff. So did I. Like, I love a good story and I love a good backstory from people. Sometimes in cases like this, maybe it's best just to like get in, get out.
Okay.
And have a goal. Have a goal. That's it. I don't do any of the negotiating in my head because I'm notoriously terrible at it. But the people who do always say you got to go in with like a specific goal in mind or like a number, if you get a coin, and be confident.
Do you think I should tell them I have 250 gold?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No, and like you can say, I don't know, you're gonna come up with a story for the thing and try to like play coy as to like, I know it's like something better than a normal flail, but without being like, oh, I definitely know all about magic. Like there's like a line. You kind of gotta.
DeCrane, do you think I should do that thing you taught me the other night? Lying?
Oh, absolutely. If you want.
Okay.
There's no reason to be honest in this situation.
Okay.
It's called negotiations.
I just want to say, I'm learning so much hanging out with all of you. I just really appreciate it.
It's like a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
I also think we would benefit from a bladed whip.
Okay.
They have
Very
those?
specific.
You want me to find a bladed whip? Okay.
We can
I mean,
use
they
it
must
to
have like an
climb.
armory here somewhere.
Oh, like a grappling hook? Is that what you're thinking?
No, it's a weapon or it's a climbing tool. It's both.
Okay. I'll ask. I'll see what the guy or gal or they have. All right, Nettie, let's do this.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Okay, so those seeking a fence will come to second. And actually, I guess before you guys split off, is there anything else you guys, Enid and Augustus, want to purchase, and like any like mundane equipment, adventuring gear, anything specific you want to get from like normal stuff before this fence, which we'll play through?
I don't really need anything because I'm presuming we're about to even go to a bigger city.
You guys are going back to Karden within a couple of days, so like there's no huge thing here, but like it's just an opportunity if you wanted to.
I can't.
But if
think
you're
of
good,
anything right now.
you're going to be traveling comfortable. Like there's no preparations needed for the next couple of days.
Okay, sweet.
Enid, all good on your side too?
Yep, all good.
Okay, so we'll jump back to you guys in a second. DeCrane and Andy, likewise, you guys are able to purchase any equipment and adventuring gear, and because you're not headed out to look for this fence, you do find the Underhill Arms, this kind of relatively simple, classic pub tavern looking place. At a quick glance, it's like moderately busy, but like really low key. They appear to have rooms offering normal meals, common ale and mead and all that kind of stuff. It'll cost a little bit of silver and gold for a night's stay and some meals. But beyond that, is there anything the two of you were looking to purchase from equipment and adventuring gear level?
You got anything, Kev?
Besides the whip, nothing really.
Such a specific ask. Kev always comes in with the most specific asks, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's a nice distance weapon.
While I'm here, I'll look to see if there's anything that would qualify for my like high quality thread and like fabric for my spell book. Sure. If there's anything that would be good enough for that. I'm not sure in places like this. And then I'm also not sure if like places like this would have like the proper tattoo parlors or not.
This kind of a place wouldn't have the proper tattoo parlors given the proximity to the law. Just generally, like shepherds don't necessarily get along with the Candorne company, but they
avoid the cops.
Make a point to like shack up in their house.
Mm.
So yeah, this would be a relatively like common place you'd have to cross that the shepherds don't love to go through.
Yeah.
So it's not a stop if they can avoid it. However, make an investigation check for the thread and fabric and textiles.
Medium. 16.
16 is pretty good, actually. I would say, yeah, you can find some high quality. I think you find higher quality fabric, but not the thread. Like you need a specific kind of thread to be like weaving in between. It needs to kind of have almost like a proper like gold element to it, or like some kind of fine metal or gem dust almost to like make it give that essence. However, you can find like reams of very high quality fabric that would work if you want to invest into that.
Okay. How would that work in terms of the monetary value of spellbook situation? Half and half. Okay, so like I'll get half of it and then I'll get the other half somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. So like think of it. So however you want to record the materials you have, if you need 100 gold for something, you need 50 fabric, 50 thread.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll do. I was gonna spend 150, but I guess I'll just do 50 for now. I just want to always grab it where
it buys you a lot here.
Does it? Okay.
Well, I guess it's the highest quality.
It's the highest quality. So like, I know it's just like with the spellbook thing, it's less about the money you're spending and more about like how much money was invested.
I would say like 50 is probably the comfortable amount that you can buy here. Like 50 gold is a lot to drop in a single.
I know.
shop.
That's what I'm a little nervous about. That's why I wanted to kind of spread it out between a couple towns. It's like a couple cities.
What's unique is that the type of fabric you're buying 50 gold isn't so crazy because you could easily be buying it for a high, a noble who you're making things for, or like there's so many ways to get away with it, but it is just a significant amount of money to be spending on any one thing. Nevertheless, you buy out what they have and you make a very happy salesperson. And you have 50 gold worth of an incredibly luxurious and like thick and hardy fabric.
I would say, I guess she's probably also used to maybe sometimes having to buy, if we're ever in a situation where there's not like a fabric person, but maybe there's someone who has like a really nice piece of clothing and she'd be very used to like repurposing that nice fabric into things like this, like pulling it apart. And
yeah, that is certainly not what you're really finding here.
No, absolutely not here.
That in Karden.
Yeah.
But here is more the one thing you do note is with like your area of expertise in this is this fabric has come a long way. This is like Mirnathian. This is Elven make. Being sold notably by an elf, but seemingly a half elf. Not so uncommon, but a little bit different, a little bit rare.
Cool.
Nonetheless, you find what you're looking for.
Very happy wizard.
With that, DeCrane and Andy, you guys make your way into the Underhill Arms. Okay. We'll reconvene here shortly, as I'd like Enid and Augustus to roll investigation checks for me.
No problem. New D&D Beyond. Do I do it? Do I dare?
What do you see for me? Do it.
Alrighty. 15. Not bad. Not bad.
I was waiting for like a 2.
Me too. A nat 1.
you guys split off from this place, and realistically, everything you've come mostly through Iron Guard to the point where you met Isaac, and the carriages seem to be what would be the east side of Iron Guard. Just is the tunnel that leads out back to Candorne, where sun is setting and everything. So everything is back to the west. You guys kind of walk together before splitting off, and Enid and Augustus, you guys make your way kind of up on the north area through what is more of these market stalls and into kind of a little bit of a winding network of homes and businesses built into elements of the cave. And they're just kind of these like winding, like non-Euclidean like streets. Like everything is a little haphazard and all over the place, very much just built into what was into like a cavern. And there are spires and elements that still remain that have been turned into the interior of like a shop or a home. And as you guys are going along, it's busy, but as things are starting to wind down, people seem to be heading back to home or kind of finishing their day. And Enid, as notably light has started to dip even further, like obviously you're in a cave, but there have been lots of lights. Back in this point, you're seeing like lamps become lit, someone going along and lighting these lamps and creating more of an atmosphere. And outside of a lot of these shops specifically, lanterns are being lit. And as one hand goes up to light a lantern to the left of a door, you notice directly underneath, kind of casting a shadow on it, like through the light from the lantern, a bit of a symbol, a circle with these three lines, just kind of tucked off to the kind of a corner element beside a door, in like a door that just goes into like a mountain.
Do you see where we should go?
Looks like there's like a door.
Oh. Yeah, if it's got those symbols, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
You guys make your way closer and see no real like signage on anything. There is like a window that is like beside the door that is carved into the wall. It has a pane of glass that seems heavily like frosted and very difficult to see inside. You see the vague shape of movement, but you can't tell really anything about this place, if it's home versus a shop, but you've seen the symbol that you're looking for.
Okay, we'll be cool. We'll just be cool. And we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I lean my back against the wall and then I just like give a little knock, 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 knock.
You tap and you hear a panel kind of slide open in the door at about the 5.5 foot mark, clearly held well over your heads.
Oh,
And then shuts again.
damn it.
Do you want me to hold you?
Yeah, I'll go on your
Here.
shoulders.
Yeah.
Climb
Here.
up. Knock, knock, knock.
Try again.
Now,
Hey.
face to face with a person who you see kind of like squinting and like a little bit of a recoil as they see you now standing. Yeah, can I help you?
Hey there. Saw that you might be someone that I'm looking for from the symbol.
What symbol?
This symbol.
And I'll try and take out my notebook and draw the 3-line symbol.
He kind of peers down
Just on my sister.
just to look and see. All right. And like there's a moment you step down and you hear
The
a
other
heavy-
page has a really cute bird on it.
you hear
Yeah, it's true.
several locks. And the door swings inward to a very, very dimly lit interior. And a man kind of obviously kind of gruff looking human, late 30s, early 40s, definitely seen combat by his demeanor, build, and scars across the neck and face. He's sporting a black mustache, slicked black hair. Silvery gray scarf or neck wrap hangs loose atop a gambeson, and a black leather duster jacket as he kind of gestures for you to step inside and step down the stairs here. You see as he gestures, where he turns, the light of candlelight and firelight inside kind of glints off of several weapons sheathed into a belt and kind of up the sides of his gambeson. What's your passive perceptions?
18.
19.
Oof.
Both of you notice as he kind of gestures to like let you in, where his hand extends and kind of leaves from the sleeve, you see in the palm a tattoo on his palm, some kind of marking presumably, but both of you having very high perception as he does so and just kind of open hand gestures. You see what looks like a chess piece, like a bishop chess piece with two horizontal lines through it. None of you know thieves' cant, as far as I'm aware. Otherwise, this encounter would have been very different. But I will allow either of you to make a history check.
Okay, yeah. I'll take it.
So
I had
higher hard DC, however you want to look at it.
I had 0, but D&D Beyond likes me tonight. 17.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. I also have 0, but I have 11.
It escapes you.
Yeah, it'd have to be higher. 17's good, but not that good.
It was a 20 DC in fairness. It is, yeah. I mean, you can presume both of you are wise. You have relatively decent insights. Symbol with lines associated, like you can imagine, it's related to like thieves' cant in some capacity. It's in the same design, though very specifically, less just arbitrary shape. Like it's a specific bishop piece. So you have no idea what significance that has, but something you both note as he gestures for you to enter, which you both do. You step down into a sunken stone chamber. There is a chandelier hanging over a table of wrought iron, candles long drip down, low flame, and there are a number of figures sat around this table. This figure kind of leads you in, and there are 2 others actually at this table. Another human male, shorter in stature, like you gather like 5'2", dark circles beneath his eye, 5 o'clock shadow, clean shaven head, and he just kind of takes a drink and is watching you enter, still with the drink up to his mouth. And feet up on the table, leaning back in the chair, tipping herself back, you see a 7-foot tall female Goliath, relatively lithe, but just full muscle nonetheless. Even though lithe, a Goliath is just muscle bound naturally. You note naturally formed tattoos, as Goliaths have. Around her left eye, a clover has taken shape in the tattoo around her eye, and is several other tattoos across her body that are just the natural formations of Goliath tattoos, Goliath skin. You hear the sounds of someone else kind of in like the shadows in the back of another room, but given your lack of dark vision, you get no further insights into any of that. And you gather really quickly as you are let in, you hear the door behind you close and one lock, though there were multiples. You see there are just like kind of all manner of kind of table and desk paper kind of strewn across. What you gather like a cartographer's setup. Like there are all kinds of maps, and there's like what's the little triangle bit with the points on it, that kind of that
Yep.
guy.
Know exactly what you're talking about. Don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
All the elements of a cartographer's kit laid out in various places and large maps, all these kinds of things. But not exactly the cartographer's guild, seemingly something else. As you enter into this space, the man who led you in here says, so, these little ones here seem to recognize our symbol. The two at the table just set the glass down and they just glare. They don't really say much more. The guy who was in front of you takes a knee in front of you and kind of levels a stare kind of at both of you. Look, you don't look like the normal crowd that we run with. Where did you find the symbol? And what do you think it means?
Where do we first find out about this symbol?
Yeah.
We know some people. I know we look kind of, we just stumbled in here. We look like two adorable bunny rabbits.
Which we are.
Which we are. But we're also kind of formidable. And that's how we came to know that this symbol means that you might be able to help us get rid of something that might interest you, but that maybe we should be walking around with.
When you say the formidable, a very audible chuckle comes from the female Goliath, who then just has trouble stifling it, and it turns into her sitting fully forward, knocking over the glass on the table. The other guy throws his hands up, and then gets up and goes to a bar at the back of the room. The guy in front of you never pays attention, just fully eyes on you. But as you finish, eyebrows kind of rise. Well, surprises come in all shapes, it would seem. So, looking to unload something.
Yes.
And are you interested more in coin or trade?
I think trade, honestly. I think you guys might have some neat things that other people have offloaded, hopefully.
We may or we may not. Let's see what you have first.
Okay, totally fair.
I'll take out of my bag the raking flail, which I think you said is magical, but I'll just put it down. Could just be a normal one. Okay.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. You set it down on the table, or where do you?
I would awkwardly take it out and hold it and look for him to let me know where I should put it.
He will gesture to the table, not wanting to touch anything as of yet.
Great. Yeah, then I'll set it down on the table gingerly.
As he sets it down, at this point, the Goliath, who has finished laughing and is kind of just pushing the spilled ale just onto the floor, just wiping it off the table onto the floor. You set this down with a heavy kind of. Her eyes linger on it for a second. Oh wow. Well, that's not nothing. Where'd you get your hands on this?
I was just trying to look it up because I didn't want to. Do they call it the Underdark in our game? What do they call it? Underworld.
We were kind of told, we should hold our cards close to the chest, but I'm more like a lead with the truth and vulnerability kind of guy. So we found this in the underworld.
They both kind of share a look for a second. She kind of nods her head appreciatively. Says, yeah, that would make sense. And when you say found...
we had a run-in. Yeah.
She kind of looks up at the other guy. I'm impressed. And he's like, just...
You are the second person to say that today, and that is so kind of you.
It's a good sign. We must be doing something right.
Good sign.
Yeah. Look, the Defilers, who you may or may
know
not...
them. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a telltale element of theirs.
Yeah.
They are, well, they fucking suck.
Good. Yeah, we didn't like them. I was hoping you'd say that.
No,
yeah,
yeah.
no, they
They sucked.
No, there's no coin to be made with people like
no, yeah, they're lame.
murderers and psychopathic is another way to say it. Look, this is something that'll be difficult for us to move as well. It's not something people are often in the market for.
Sure.
Let's put it that way. However, at a quick glance here, if you will oblige us to double check its authenticity, we'll say.
Of course, sure.
He kind of does a little, and the guy who was at the table previously goes and knocks on a door that was where you could hear the sound from before. And there's a moment that passes, and the guy who you've been talking with just kind of has like a minute, 2 minutes drag on. He just kind of gives like just wait. And you watch a moment later, a fourth figure enter into the room.
Can I fill the silence before that happens?
You're welcome to, sure.
Just maybe while that guy's doing that, and I'll scooch into Nettie. Nettie, maybe you should play them a song.
Oh, yeah, I can try.
It could
Oh, sorry.
Hmm?
Low profile.
So not a loud song?
Preferably no song, if I'm honest. I appreciate the offer.
Okay, yeah, sure. It's just a new thing we're working on. Yeah, great.
We're really good at it, too.
I appreciate the enthusiasm. You guys have never done this incredibly clearly. This is not a normal thing to offer up in this situation. However, now you know.
Okay.
Now we know.
Interesting.
Time and place, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Does Nettie have the whole like axe out? Do they notice it?
I assume it's kind of always like slung over one way or another. How else
badass
you carry a
blade.
battle axe? Yeah.
And it's
It
huge
does-
on her too.
It does shrink to accommodate your size and stature.
Oh, that's
as
cool.
most magical items will size up for you, so it's not like a massive battle axe. Like it's an Enid-sized battle axe loot. As he kind of puts a stop to that, a slightly awkward beat passes before this fourth figure enters, and you see a figure enters in deep purple dyed leather and a facial covering, this kind of like bandana-esque kind of mask of also purple. It covers from above the eyes with eye slits cut out down across the face. However, even with that, you can see undercut white hair shaved on one side, swept over the other, and tall, long, pointed elven ears of a kind of a pale gray skin. The eyes are notably very like bright within the shadow of this mask as this female elf strides in directly to the table, cocks her head, and looks at the guy and says, "They don't look like what we're used to, but admittedly, they've got some pretty interesting stuff on the table here, literally, and an interesting story to tell. They've had some experiences, and who are we to say to shy away from people who don't quite look the norm?"
That's super considerate. Thanks.
That's really nice.
Elf looks down at you with a kind of withering glare for a second. Back to him. "So what is it they have?" It would appear a weapon of the Defilers. If you would be willing to authenticate, we can look into what it would cost and discuss trade. She nods, puts a hand forth, and you watch her eyes go from, they were like kind of bright to like shocking white. Light pouring out of them as she looks over this item, and you hear incantation uttered under her breath. A moment passes, She gives a nod before she goes to take a step back and then looks back to you and says, "Is this all you have for trade? Or do you wish to put more on the table?"
I think from my side, it's all for now. Nettie, did you want to trade anything?
I mean, I don't know what I have that you would want.
That's answer enough. And she turns and leaves.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thorsten behind. The man you've been speaking with kind of claps his hands together and says, "Well, authenticated. So, as I was saying before, it'll be difficult for us to move. Not a item in common high demand. However, some items have a different sort of purpose that they can serve. Innate magic and dark magic, there's always someone in need somewhere. Whether they need it from this directly or we could transfer it in power. Regardless, what is it you're looking for?"
I don't know if you have anything kind of like a combat-y weapon focused, but something I could use, or if you have something else that like is magic that could help us get out of a bind. Just always kind of looking for options.
Make a persuasion check, please.
You got it. Yeah, that's when it turns. It's a 3 on the dice.
Okay.
Immediately go to another table. Whatever table you're looking at now, go to a different item table.
I had to go to a different page.
Well, you
Or
look at
like,
that.
money is fine.
No,
Oh,
I
you
mean,
look-
I have to just kind of now I have to evaluate the level of the request, what they have, what makes sense. Like I got to honor it properly. Because you've come in here, and this is I'll put my elements and my cards on the table. You've come in here with an item to trade. You come in with honesty and just like being forthright with what you want. It's taken them a little bit like by surprise. They're on board with this. Like this is a lot easier than most other deals they have to deal with. And though this item is likely not going to get sold as is, it's got a decent level of enchantment to it. They can do a lot with it. So it's worth an uncommon trade. So like in terms of items, it's worth an uncommon in kind. However, the persuasion was kind of shit.
It's pretty
So,
bad. Pretty
Gotta
bad.
honor the pretty bad persuasion.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find something that I actually want to offer you guys that would be interesting while filling all the previously stated.
The context.
So give me just like 2 seconds. Let me just like flip
No,
through
all
some
good. Other things we have, just to keep track for the party. We have I don't want to trade these though, because I think they're neat. We have a decanter of endless water, which is so rad. We've got the dragon vessel, which is that horn. I don't know if you were there for this, Nettie. Maybe we have this like horn now that once a day can either give you a potion of healing, potion of climbing, ale, or olive oil.
What? That's so cool. No, I don't think I was there for that.
Yeah,
That was probably the
that's
one that
pretty
was 2 weeks
sweet.
ago.
Yeah,
Like an alchemy jug, but not.
That's so
for
cool.
4 specific things.
So there's a moment of in the several minutes it took me to cycle through all my options. This guy does a lot faster. And he turns back to the guy who he sent off to get the elven woman and do kick off the languages you guys understand.
I got Druidic, Elvish, Sylvan, and Common.
Okay, nope.
And I've got Common, Elvish, Gnomish, Infernal, and Sylvan.
Infernal.
It's none of
Came in
those.
handy the last campaign.
It did.
None of those, unfortunately. So he says something to this guy in another language, at which point he goes into the same room where he had retrieved the elven woman from, takes a pretty quick beat, and comes back with two things. One is small, like a small pouch size thing. The other is small, but not a pouch, and it's very clearly an item in his hand. And he lays down on the table a pair of goggles. They've got lenses, a leather strap around, and they've got a kind of there's a bit of an owl motif to the design that goes around the face. The other is just like a little like a silken kind of pouch, relatively small. He sets them both on the table across from the rake and flail. And the guy you've been speaking with says, I'll give you an option. Unfortunately, we don't have any weaponry to be freely trading at this time. In fairness, this is not ideal for the place to be trading in weaponry. Stuff like this can get you caught out by the significant retinue of soldiers that are in this pretty small area.
Yeah,
I'm actually really impressed that you got in here with this.
me too.
So, to honor the steps you've taken, I do want to trade with you in kind here. So I offer you these two options.
Okay.
I note both of you seem to struggle in this light. Something that we've all become accustomed to. However, if you're going to work in this level, if you're going to be adventuring in this level, you're going to need to get accustomed to seeing in the dark. These goggles will help you with that.
Okay.
Alternatively, if you're looking for something to help, I note neither of you really sport, similarly to us, the heavy metals of a heavily armored knight, or specifically Arcana class knights or Candorne company men. This dust in this pouch is a dust of corrosion. You throw it out, and any non-magical ferrous metals instantly corrode and turn to dust. It'll be very useful in a pinch.
Do you mind if I talk to my... Okay, I'll reveal it. She's my sister. Do you mind if I talk to my sister?
I encourage it.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think we should do?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Which one do you like more? Like the goggles or like the sand thing?
The goggles might be a little bit more helpful.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think about sometimes when we're in the dark fighting, you could wear those goggles and be so good with your bow and arrow. Because I can also cast dark vision.
Well, I was just gonna say I can also cast dark vision as well. So we could do that too, but
it could save us a spell too.
we could.
I think I like it because it lasts longer than the sand.
I agree.
Okay, I put my paw in. Break. I'll turn around. Okay, yeah, I think we've decided the goggles would be really handy.
I think that's a wise choice. The perpetual enchantment of dark vision versus the one-time use of corrosion. Could get you out of a bind, but now you can get away into the dark and slip away, never to be seen.
I like it. Do I get your name, like some sort of bill of receipt for this, or do you want me to sign a waiver, or?
You're very funny. He slides the goggles across the table and passes the flail off to the Goliath, who instantly just starts like swinging it around and doing a bunch of moves. And he says, "That's going to conclude our business, but I don't know that our paths will cross again."
If they do, yeah, can I call you something?
Call me Diamond.
Diamond. Okay.
I don't remember if you guys said your name. It seems like something you would have done.
We haven't
I
yet.
can't remember if you had or not.
You can call me Rabbit.
That seems diminutive. But
And you could call my sister, yeah.
Girl rabbit.
well, rabbit, girl rabbit. I look forward to the day our paths cross once more.
Me too, Diamond. And I
Lead you
back out of the room.
That dude
You back-
immediately regrets giving you any kind of name.
Stumble into the wall, move over, trying to find the door.
He allows you exit out of the door and closes it behind you.
We did. Oh my god, we were so good. We were
So good. I can't believe we got this. Such a great deal. Oh,
Yes.
I can't wait to use
You
that.
hear in the door and he says, "Stop bragging. Go quiet."
Oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. It was great.
Collectively,
Walk back. So excited.
you guys make your way back through Iron Guard and connect back at the Underhill Arms. Is there anything the four of you want to talk about or do before the evening comes to a close?
I would just excitedly, I'm sure, with Nettie, explode with this story on Andy when we see them in like our room or something. But yeah, just be so excited about it.
I'm very invested. And I really am very curious about the person who seemed to just know what all these magic items were. And a little bummed I didn't go because I would have questioned them too much. Although this is probably a good choice.
Do you think we should wear masks like when we do stuff like that? It was pretty cool that they wore a mask.
It was really cool.
I mean, if you want, I can make you some. Do you want some?
Okay. Yeah.
If we can find some like leftover fabric from something, yeah, I can make you. If you ever want anything specific or close, I just need like a quiet place to do it quickly. For
Because I was also
approximately
thinking-
11 minutes.
You know, like, you know who we're gonna go see tries to keep it like quiet. And then
Mhm.
these cats, Diamond, he was all about keeping it quiet too. So like we could have disguises or like masks.
They could be interesting. You just gotta keep in mind, like masks are immediately suspicious. So like, while you're wearing it, but like if you're a place where like everyone else has already been shady, then that's great. You'll fit right in.
Mhm.
Covers your
Mhm.
expressions too. Makes it harder to read.
I think I'm pretty hard to.
Yeah, next time you're somewhere like and you find like a fabric you really like, just grab it and then we can make like maybe like cool ones. Like some people make them where there's like you can see there's like a design on the outside so it looks like teeth or like I can embroider stuff on it for you.
Oh, so cool. Can you
Could I-
imagine? Go for it, Nettie.
No, you go. I
I
want
was
to
gonna
hear
say,
that.
can you imagine you playing a set and you got a cool mask on the whole time?
What? I didn't even. Oh, that's so. I want to get like a mask with teeth. This is now that you said teeth, but like have like little diamonds encrusted into it and just you know like
Sick.
sparkly, especially
Yeah.
on stage.
I love it.
Yeah.
I got these the like owl goggles too. Do you know what a group of owls is called, Andy?
Isn't it Parliament?
Oh, that's less exciting of a name. Never mind.
Oh, it's kind of cool. It's very. It's like I mean, it could be like a. You could pretend it's a murder. That's what crows are called.
But I don't want us to be called the murders.
I feel like a bunch of owls should be like a bunch of hooters or something. You know?
I honestly thought about cahoots. We're just all in cahoots. We'll keep playing with it. There's something there. Band of cahoots. Cahoots band.
We spend the rest of the evening workshopping terrible names.
Fair enough.
Scribbling it down. Can I draw? Maybe could I do this, Kyle? Could I try and draw the bishop symbol in my book? I didn't want to do it in front of them. And could I show Andy it and see if she knows what that is?
Yeah. Just go ahead and throw me a performance check. And then Andy, I'll ask for a history check. And based on how good this performance check is, that will raise or lower the DC.
12. So average.
Middling, but it's not a hard symbol to draw. It's how well you could remember
Yeah.
elements. Like, I know it's pretty simple, but There's a lot
It
going on.
was really quick though. Yeah.
22.
A 22 is going to be enough. Just closed the document that had answered his question, but that's okay. I will get it back very fast. Essentially, I can go off mostly memory here. The symbol is connected to the Midnighters, which is not a particular surprise. Isaac had mentioned the Midnighters as one of the known guilds that they work with, and have had these kind of dealings with in the past. However, specifically, the bishop element could be a connection to Andy. You've heard the elements of like the Midnighters is just the overall branding of this group, but they are clearly led by figures, and they have so many. It's a criminal organization, so they have so many elements and focuses within. You've heard the term the Hooded Bishops before, a sect or pair of leaders within the greater criminal organization. You imagine that this figure, the fact that this was tattooed on him specifically, combined aligns him with the Hooded Bishops, and then the lines are a significance of rank. So relatively high up based on your like entry level understanding, that in the same way that if you saw, in our world, a soldier with a bunch of epaulets and badges and medals, you imagine probably high up there. You have no idea what it is. You don't know what he did or what that rank he is, but yeah, that's a lot of medals. He's probably high up in the thing. So just the fact that he has this tattooed, displayed in an open position on the hand is probably significant some way. 2 lines through, like relatively high up within the rankings under what could be the Hooded Bishops.
Wow.
So you talked to this guy?
Yeah, he was really nice. He was really helpful.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you did it. You met the criminals. People are trying to... Apparently, he's like, if there's a couple lines, it means he's not nobody. Seems to be somebody. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, always good to have friends in different places.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when you're going to be coming back to your place. So, I mean, now you've learned some things, and then these people all over the place.
Just make sure they won't stab you in the back.
You think Diamond would stab me in the back?
You just met him.
You know what, DeGreen, you'd be so proud of me. I actually didn't show my back to him when I left. Eddie and I kind of just crept backwards the whole time.
We also didn't give him our real names.
Yes.
What names did you give?
Code names.
Really good ones too. So no one could ever track us back to them.
Like something completely out of general, or something that's nothing to do with you guys.
Well, that's actually really
It was kind of I called myself Rabbit.
And that was Girl Rabbit.
I was gonna say maybe that's 2 on the nose to figure, and then the Girl Rabbit. I think that might be a bit of a giveaway. But it's okay. Maybe we can workshop it a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I think I'm gonna stick with it. That was pretty good.
Yes.
Workshop is starting to sound like a good band name for us. So one is coming up.
I'm good at naming things, honestly. Other people give you your head names, so it's not something I've had to think about.
If only there was someone in this group who's really good at naming things.
And if only he wasn't only playing all the NPCs.
I almost asked Diamond what a good group name would be. I think the next NPC I will ask them that.
As your evening comes to a close in the Underhill Arms, excitedly talking into the night, but well-fed, comfortable beds, which is nice after a long journey, and warm and comfortably full. Collectively, the cost for food, drink, and your stay is going to come to 2 gold for the rooms, and then it'd be 5 silver for the group of you to eat. So if you make like 3 gold, you're very well taken care of.
I dropped 3 gold for everybody. Let's do it.
We should probably at some point develop party funds.
Party funds. I'm made of gold now. Ooh, baby. Not like the crane over here with 8 gold. I don't know if we kept that in this episode, but
I spent it on something.
You did spend a shit ton of gold before we left Karden. I just don't remember what on.
I don't remember at all. But yeah,
But
you
you
probably
did
just
drop.
bought
You dropped a shit ton of money.
stuff, just random stuff. But you didn't have that much money to start with. Like
Yeah.
This is the most money you guys have had ever. You just got 250 gold. Like,
Hey, if anyone's watching this episode and remembers what the fuck Dorian bought, we're too lazy to go back and watch the episode, so let us know.
DM us at mention as Hexplorers D&D.
that's right. Nonetheless, the evening comes to a close. You can all hit long rest if you haven't already.
Importance. Is it worth rolling portents, or are we gonna speed through some shit?
I would roll them simply because if you need to roll history checks or something specific while we're having a conversation, you may want to have them for this next day specifically where you're going to talk to Ludomir.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're going to speed through the rest of the travel, essentially. So, as the morning comes to you, you do intentionally wake up relatively early, trying to beat your way over to the captain's club and the carriages before you're too late and Isaac gives you shit. I think comfortably you make it with enough time to spare. And you see the 3 luxurious carriages that stand outside of the captain's club are being there are shire horses that are set in front of them, ready to 2 pairs to each carriage. There are 3 carriages. There are 3 coachmen that are going about getting things ready and just like making sure everything is ready to go. The horses are fed. Everything is spick and span and clean. And as you guys approach, Isaac just like steps out of shadow once more and bids you good morning, and then gestures to the middle carriage for you to hop into, all 4 of you.
Wait, all these yours? Boys?
Yeah.
How many people did you bring?
Just 3 of us. 3 coachmen, myself, and Ludomir.
That's a lot of carriages. This is a fancy carriage. Okay, let's go inside. These are very nice. These are very nice carriages.
Did you not remember who we're with?
Yeah, I thought you were being like subtle though. I thought you'd like travel something like a little more under the.
Well, we're not traveling under the guise of who we are. We're traveling under the guise of the nobleman, Ludomir Nostrov.
Right.
And
Understood.
in the line of work that he's in both sides, it's best to keep people guessing as to where exactly you are. If need be, we have 3 carriages in which to split away from one another and divert attentions and not know exactly where someone is. Keep that in mind while you're inside. Now get in. It's time to go.
Okay.
Within these carriages, you're going to travel in quite comfortably traveling in back to Karden. Normally a 10-day journey on foot, a few days less on horseback. However, you note as you guys set off, these carriages and these horses never seem to tire nor stumble. And through the windows, you watch as you leave the mountain of and the tunnel of Irongar behind, and you watch the mountains become distant and rolling hills of Kinshire pass like lush green waves. You're unsure if there is a bearing of magical influence upon the horses or upon the carriages themselves.
I will absolutely ritually cast detect magic at some point because I'm too curious to let it go.
The carriages are non-magical, but the horses appear to have some element of magic upon them.
Guys, these horses are not normal horses. They're like magic horses.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if like the horse itself is magic or something like that.
I will make a note to draw the horses in my book. just so I can have a new wild shape to transform into. Not that it's a magic horse.
Definitely. You can definitely do that. The carriage's interior is incredibly luxurious. As you set into the center is a table with wraparound bench seating around that is in a luxurious kind of red leather plush seating wrapped around this table for comfort and obviously plenty of room for the four of you to sit around for meals and to work and do whatever it is you wish. In both ends are set bunk beds that are kind of set into the section that kind of leans into and over the wheel wells on either side. Bunk beds on either side with windows that kind of look out the back but can be closed off with curtain. The curtains around each of the windows in this luxurious carriage, which is larger than your average coach, certainly. It is a longer haul kind of setup.
It's a giant RV.
At the height of expense in the day and age. You can see there are several different kind of shelves inset into various elements all around the space that have books, and there are water pitchers and kind of cutlery and dishes and things for you to have your meals and anything you need. Anything at your beck and call, anything you can think that you would want in the moment seems to be have a place tucked somewhere in the place ready for you to grab. At midday in this journey, comfortably within this carriage you've traveled, as the coaches come to a rest and the coachman set about preparing lunch for you and taking care of the horses and normal rest that you take on a journey, there's a knock at your carriage door, and Isaac opens it, leans in, and just with a nod beckons you to follow him out. Following suit, you're led inside to the third carriage, which is Ludomir's carriage. The doors open and you enter in, where he sits at the table, an array of parchments splayed out before him alongside inkwell and quill. Ludomir himself massages one hand within the other, as if alleviating the cramps of long periods of writing. He gestures to the carriage around him. As you guys come in, you note bags under his eyes, weary, a little disheveled. I'm going to say specifically a little disheveled. He still looks very put together, but notably not quite as pristine in presentation as you've seen before, but still very good. His hair, every so often, there's a couple flyaways and strands that are not quite tamped down, and you can see the beard is kind of splayed in little areas where he's been kind of stroking his chin, and then it's got kind of messed up a little. And as I said, the bags under his eyes where he's clearly been without sleep. As you guys all enter, though, he does turn away from what he's been working on and does beam a wide smile.
Welcome, friends. It is wonderful to see you once more. Please come in, make yourself comfortable. And finally, we may speak free and plain.
As you guys kind of set yourselves in.
It's good to see you.
Likewise. And I think better to see you having accomplished your mission and seemingly no worse for wear.
I mean, it was what? You'd not believe the things that have happened to us in the last few weeks.
I admittedly have seen quite a bit in my day, so perhaps my surprise may be tempered ever so slightly. But I'm sure it was both thrilling and horrifying.
You ever seen your sister reach in your friend's chest to check out his heart and then take a spooky spawn monster off of it? And then it's not really like a heart, though. It's energy. And then you knit him back up and he's A-okay.
I can't say that I have, but I do not have a sister.
Oh, well, yeah. That's okay.
Nevertheless, have you found your accommodations to your liking?
Yeah. So
He's
nice.
the nicest carriage. I've been in a lot of carriages. He's easily the nicest carriage I've ever seen in my entire life.
As he kind of gestures to the carriage, you see identically the same carriage here, except the front bunk is not a bunk bed, but a desk, a very luxurious-looking desk. And the rear is not a bunk, but a single king-size bed at the rear of the coach, notably unslept in. He kind of, yes. I find when traveling, when on the road, there's no reason to spare any expense. Comfort on the road is well worth the gold. When you have it, of course.
How are you doing? Isaac mentioned there's been like a surge of activity now that the network's back.
A significant sum, yes. A series of visions and prophecy were sent to the Nexus through the receiving rods and sent to us. And I have been working to parse and decipher what have appeared to become 10 visions, prophecy, of varying level of mystery and difficulty.
Wait, can you get them from
severity.
Can you get them from here? I thought it was only through that like big map thing. It was in the secret place.
Well, that is the table upon which they are received, the receiving rods. However, I have the capability of receiving wherever I am. Transmission. Through this. And he holds up his ring and he kind of taps it. It's seemingly kind of like a mundane ring. But as he kind of spins it, you note a kind of rainbow hue kind of shift across it as it catches the light. And as he looks down at it, you watch it changes its shape entirely and shifts to a band of like pure rainbow light. And another moment passes and he changes it again to a gold band, very simple but gold instead of silver. With this, in time, very soon, you will receive something very similar. Now, I wish to get into explaining some of the visions that we have seen, but first I must hear your account. If you can spare no detail, I would very much like to know everything that happened on your journey, and specifically the final.
I mean, we met when the Underdark, and then we met some weird, like, frog guys, and then a bunch of Defiler guys, and then there was these Mushroom Kingdom people that we helped save from. There's more Defiler guys, and then there's like a weird flaming skull thing, and then we met more farther, and then there was all the snow, and then this weird, like, stinky people and a weird moth guy came, and then they knew that Enid and Augustus, they knew who they were, which is weird because they don't know who they were. And then we met the dragon, and she gave us weird visions, and then also the rods, which were really cool, and I'm really sad I don't have it anymore. And then we went up into the mountains, and in the mountains there were like a bunch of dogs that had like gear on them, and then they were attacking us. And then there was a guy who was really creepy, and he was opening like a portal, and then DeCrane almost fell off a cliff. And then we went into the town where Brunakiln, and everyone was these like weird zombie things, except there was like a few people who were okay, and we saved them and then got them out, and then we kind of exploded the entire town with the foundry thing, and that was, I mean, it worked, but also the town's kind of leveled. And then we went in, and then there was a guy who we had to fight in the inside of the mountain, and it's like no one had been there for a long time. And then we fought him, and it was really close, but we made it. And then there was at the bottom, there was like these chains, and there was like this big thing, and it's like someone had broke out, and there was sand inside. And then there was this portal, and there's this like really weird, otherworldly, creepy guy, and he basically told us that his boss is like a giant blob monster who's probably going to try to consume an entire world. Then we got it.
I drew a couple birds.
They're so good, right?
They're pretty good.
That's pretty great. You learned what a Grey Jay is.
And I've been reading the Dragon book you lent me, and it's really good.
Wonderful.
Do you need a little bit more detail about anything specific? I'm sorry, I got really excited.
Admittedly, I could use detail on most of the account. However, I will specify
I was going to say we can
creatures-
start with the mushrooms because that's really interesting, but like, yeah, it's okay.
The
Terrible.
Myconid are interesting in their own right, but they likely will not serve any purpose to what I believe to be coming. The creatures you faced. Can you describe them and their master? Or masters, it would appear.
We describe to the best of our ability.
Didn't they call him the Dark Hunger?
Yeah, I wrote it all down.
Spawn beasts.
The Dark Hunger, and the guy's name, he called himself...
He was what's it called?
I didn't write it
Herald.
down. The
It's called
Herald.
itself the Herald, yeah.
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 Wasn't a name, there's more of a title.
There are also a lot of visions for me and him and other stuff when we put the rolls back in. Describe those.
So which visions do you describe?
My thoughts were the Decrane ones, but he's the one who had them, and so did Ian. But I would leave that to them if they wanted to talk about those.
Do you describe the encounter that you had?
With the creepy guy? Oh,
With-
my side.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not very good at knowing when to shut up. So.
And Enid and Decrane at this kind of turn, do you guys describe the visions that were you both caught and received? Do you explain them in any detail?
Yeah.
Decrane, you saw
Decrane?
2 or 3?
Decrane saw the spider one, the night when a forest.
And the final vision of coming doom.
Do you share that with Ludomir, Decrane?
Yep.
With the specifics of the visions kind of shared, you watch as he kind of begins to move some papers and begins kind of, you see some writing, some drawing, some bits of both, notes and scratched out elements and then rewritten. And you see him begin to assemble the elements of the visions you're describing. He assembles elements that match what you're talking about and what he has recorded from the Nexus, what has been delivered to him, but delivered in a jumbled mess that he has parsed and pulled apart, and has seen the same 4 visions that the Enid and Decrane received. But Andy, he as you're explaining your moment and the warning given from this figure within the domain of potential, he kind of lets everything drop and focuses solely in on you, where he kind of is just hands steepled and just kind of waiting and listening and taking things in. He hones in on you very specifically and gets close.
Say that again. What did you see now? Who did you see?
Like a person made of stuff. Is this a good time to tell you that I've been having visions about this kind of stuff since I was 12?
I believe you alluded to some of this already.
Okay, I couldn't remember. It's been a long time.
Did you see these same visions or this figure in your visions when you were a child?
I don't think I did, right? This person was new.
This person was new, as far as you know.
Yeah.
Well, that is interesting.
Do you know who they are? Are they a person? I kind of assumed he was just like a, like in dreams when it's like your own subconscious telling you things.
Not sure. I do not know. I hope that it would be impossible. You said they called themselves the Dark Hunger, or that the Dark Hunger was coming.
Yeah, and we're pretty sure there's something to do with the Ashen Waste.
Yes, that would fit as well. This is far worse than we could have imagined.
It's not exactly the hopeful words we were hoping to hear.
No.
It seems really bad.
it is. And I do not know how we could have been so blind to this. How...
You watch the kind of put together facade just drop, and you see a weary, downtrodden old man before you. He doesn't weep or fall apart, but his shoulders slump from this like ever-present kind of like strong and regal presence to someone who is facing the end.
I don't know how we could have been so blind. This is... We must get into these visions and begin to parse what is past, present, and future, to see where we are going next. But to first see where we must go next, we must look back to where we began. The sins of the past, of course. How familiar are you with ancient history? Pre-revival.
Very little.
Well, it is fair. There are not many records, and certainly fewer from the time in which I hailed from. The Dark Hunger, Hadar, as he is known, and his minions have been here before. When the world was young, the first records of man written and new gods had only just graced our skies. The hungering came. It was not immediate. The darkness grew slow. The shadows grew long, and in them the first of his children came. They poisoned the waters and made barren the land. The whispers in the dark of a hopeless day to come. Desperation turned to fear to anger, and soon to war. And not with his minions, but with one another. It took years to come to light that we had all been manipulated by his Hadar spawn. By the grace of the gods and the rise of Vigil's chosen, Vigil was not torn asunder by her own people. But it was only then the voidspawn came, swarming en masse on an unprepared world. Thousands were lost before we could find our footing and formulate a plan. The gods themselves descended from on high to fight alongside, and still the world eater was not repelled, only emboldened as our number waned and fear grew. The incursion, as we have come to call it, lasted for near 100 years, before a final desperate action was taken by the chosen of Vigil. In the end, we won. The world eater was deceived. But such auspicious circumstances always come with a cost, whether you are prepared to pay it or not.
What was the cost?
He kind of rubs his brow and kind of begins to speak a couple of times, but like can't quite find the words.
It is difficult to explain. It is something that you might need to experience to fully grasp and understand. I will find a way to translate this to you. I know it can be done. It will take time. But it is important that you understand the weight of actions taken, the toll they took, and who we were when we needed to do it.
Okay.
To put it simply, our actions, which kept the world safe of Hadar, doomed the world to a dark age.
How
That's where the-
long?
Far too long.
That's where the waste came from.
Not quite. The wastes are a more modern mistake of man. In truth, I have only speculated as to what has caused the wastes rise or fall, however you see to look at it. But specifically, the great Magocracy of Gammalast that once resided in the northwest. Its destruction seemed to bring about the Ashen Wastes, the origin point, so to speak. I've theorized as to how it may have fallen from such heights, and how it could have turned this world so dark. But I have to admit, those answers I have long put to the side, perhaps out of fear.
Well, the Herald guy said he'd be waiting, or they'd be waiting, and it seemed like they were indicating the Ashen Waste.
Of course. It is in
He did kind of give us a job offer and said to meet there. We didn't accept, but it seemed like, I don't know if they were actually actively recruiting, if he was just kind of toying with us.
He is not recruiting. They need not recruit. Their exiled army, voidspawn, will perpetuate them. As long as Hadar lives, so will they.
Well, we do think that whatever the muck is, that is what had something to do with Ursa. Something's trying to corrupt her, the seeking sources of power. Same reason they were trying to get into the volcano.
Yes, your friend, Ursa. Perhaps we do turn some attention her way. It is possible. Describe again your encounter with her. The power that you felt and saw. It was otherworldly, yes?
Yeah, it was. It wasn't a specific kind of magic that I'd seen here. It was kind of all of the magics. One strong source. It did give me a vision right away, so I didn't get a really good look at it because it was kind of blinding. But then she was in the vision, and that doesn't usually happen.
Was it anything like this?
You watch as he picks up his writing utensil, this kind of like fountain tip pen, and he puts his hand bare before all of you in the middle of the table, stabs his hand with the pen. You see it goes through his hand and embeds into the table with force. He lifts his hand through the pen and pulls it free until you see a hole in his hand, blood pouring down his hand.
I would immediately try to grab it and cast.
You are held back by the burst of radiant and rainbow-hued light from within his hand. It flows out and encompasses into his entire hand and fills the interior of this cabin with blinding light, similar to that as you had seen when you looked through detect magic upon Ursa.
I was gonna say, if I have the wherewithal to do it, I've properly prepared not ritual detect magic today, I would cast it.
You're free to.
I don't know if it'd be worth it, but
I think even before you get the chance to get it out, the shock takes you by surprise enough, and the light is seen enough that you can compare the two. When it wanes, his hand is whole.
Okay, I don't know how to ask this in a delicate way. So I'm not going to be delicate. What are you?
I am very old. And the power that I wield or that has chosen me is even older.
Ursa's not old though. She's like very clearly like 12 years old. And
that is why
parents...
it is so interesting to me. It is possible another has been chosen to take up the mantle of one who has fallen.
So there's more of you? There wasn't just you?
I'm putting together the pieces of a person made out of stars. I don't say that out loud.
There were. We were called the Prismic Society.
See, another fucking great name. Great name. Easy.
We are doomed to having the person who's best at naming things refuse to help us in naming our party.
I think we should be the Doomed. The Doomed's pretty sick.
The doomed sounds so pessimistic, and we are surprisingly optimistic party. Except
That's the fun of it.
The Prismic Society, you were saying?
A similar thing that must be experienced to fully comprehend, but in short, yes, we were the Prismic Society, a group of us, not so unlike yourselves. But that was a long time ago. And again, to properly understand, must be experienced. But essentially, we were, unbeknownst to us, given purpose, prophecy, and connection to greater forces that govern our world. This force of potential within which we tap into for the Divining Network is one of these forces, one of 6 forces that governs and binds Vigil. We call them the spectrums or the powers. There are several different ways of looking at it, but they are fundamental forces of life, of our world. And for some reason beyond the gods, it is not divine. It is cosmic in nature. It is beyond all. And we were chosen to be stewards. Heralds, people to say.
Is the Dark Hunger represent one of those spectrums?
The Dark Hunger is the antithesis of these forces. A dark opposite, if you will.
it's like the lock of energy compared to the source of it. It felt empty.
Indeed. No force can eliminate the energy that we create here, but it can. Its power to consume is not bound by our laws of nature, by the spectrums. It is beyond anything that we have experienced, and it craves cosmic power above all.
Does that mean it might come try to find you?
It is why it came in the first place, to come for the power. In consuming it, it consumes the world. The power is our vigil. We simply have a piece. This is the aim of the hunger of Hadar. We had thought in our action, the end of the incursion, We had deceived it enough and moved ourselves out of its purview enough. And we had for several centuries, it would seem. But a creature, an abomination like Hadar, does not forget quickly. It has had a taste, and it will not cease until it finishes its meal.
Can we... I mean, you said you deceived it before. Can we deceive it again? Or can we eliminate it?
This is where we are at the crossroads. How we deceived it before was through a device known as the Genesis Crate. Its purpose is incredibly difficult to explain. And again, why I wish you to experience it and see it for yourselves, so you may become understanding hope. Unfortunately, it does not exist anymore. It is not in our hands.
Could we, make a new one? Or is it there's only one ever and the gods made it or something?
I do not. I do not think it is something that we can easily recreate. It took all 6 of us of the Prismic Society to craft it in the first place. And even then, we had the most brilliant minds of all of Vigil put together in one space. Its purpose was highly specific, and yet time has gotten away from us all.
But I mean, if this is a new one, maybe we just have to can we help? Maybe we just have to find more, right? There could be a new Prismic Society. Because we're definitely... Look, we've gotten really good over the last few weeks. We've done really well. I'm not sure how much we can help you with the world-ending stuff, but maybe we can find people who can.
It's possible. I fear we may not have the time in which it will take to do. With how dire things are before us, with the visions before me, with the warning given to you within the plane of potential, I fear we are almost too late.
Well, we've been hearing a lot of bad news lately. The Herald guy was saying it's too late, all this stuff, but I've heard from 2 people in the last couple of days that we really surprised them with how impressive we are. So I'd like to keep that streak rolling.
Yes, you're right. You have impressed. You've succeeded in ways that many perhaps do not think you could. To look at you outwardly, you do not expect much. But this is precisely what I saw within you. The potential, the capability to push forward where others will not. To do what is right, no matter the cost. Simply because it is right.
Damn right.
Now, 10 visions given, 10 warnings or threads upon which to pull or find inspiration. The prophecies presented to our the network, to the Nexus. We have Clandestrix has tinkered in such a way that the set of scale of severity would follow a color code, as we have determined. Some who come in green represent more evil on a personal scale, man to man, but they can be present or future. A blue vision of prophecy is a convergence of potentials that could lead to great disaster, but how the events play out has not yet been foreseen. Red visions represent an evil on grand scale, wars on the rise of dark dominion. These are typically active in the present visions. Orange is foretelling of destruction, wide scale, often not as a result of man, the whims of the otherworldly or natural causes. And the timeline there can be quite tricky as well. And finally, black, a causality that would lead to mass extinction and whose ramifications are unknown but has already or will come to pass. We received one black vision. And he taps on one of the final that DeCrane saw. The coming of the Dark Hunger. He highlights two red visions. The vision Enid was delivered, the dunes of glittering sand, lightning, triangular holes, and the ground rumbling beneath a horde of monsters. And another that you have not seen. But as the elements that he has drawn and kind of parsed together pieces of parchment kind of comes to explain and represent. The vision showed a circlet of withered flowers scattered on the floor beneath a jagged crown of iron that was cracked in two. There was the clashing sounds of steel, the crescendo of war, and a white moth landing atop the two crowns as dusk falls.
Does it look like the moth face that Nettie and I saw that one time?
Difficult to say. There was a group of moths. This is a single moth.
I hate moths. Moths have been really messing with us lately.
We've had a couple bad run-ins.
With moths?
Yeah, when we first met Ursa and we were escaping, I was with her kind of having a moment, and then a bunch of moths made a face and were like, said something really sinister.
Then there was a creepy moth guy who fought right outside Clan District.
Yeah.
Oh, and the smell with it too.
Mm-hmm.
I recall now you speaking of a face of moths, and you're fleeing with Ursa. Perhaps there is more to the moths than less symbolism and more specific.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a couple notations to look into further there. As he kind of looks through some of the others, there is another black, but he's already noted that it is past. To which he says,
this is to your point of the Ashen Wastes, the fall of Gammalast. The fall of Gammalast was shown in one of the visions. A brooding, towering city looming overhead, but within a second it falls. The tower is rubble, the people gone. The sky is black and full of ash. It is most certainly the fall of Gammalast. How it fits into this greater picture, I do not know yet.
I will be trying to read notes over his shoulder in various
He
degrees
passes
of
them out.
fidelity. Oh, great. Okay.
he's passing them all out. There's no secrets here. I didn't see that I had labeled that one black as well, so that one was just hidden, and he brings it out at this point. The others are of slightly lesser, as you kind of rise in the color of things, but the orange labeled prophecies foretelling of destruction on a wider scale. He highlights that there is one.
This is a tricky one because it was fragmented. And of course, all vision and prophecy is typically a fragmented nature of some capacity, but this one was delivered incomplete or broken. The gist of which was a blur of teal and blue energy passing down a cobblestone alley pursued by shadow. It then was in a hallway, and another flash, and it bursts into the stars, into the sky, and pursued by the night, the tendrils of shadow. The return of the prismic concept, prismic society. Colors were significant within our group. And the color of blue was representative of the flow of rhythm and time. A great woman was blessed with its command, but she has long been gone. So, what I cannot tell is if this is past something happening to her, or future, the darkness chasing after a new potential, or that the same fate could be in the present. But perhaps what you speak of with your young Ursa is happening to another under this banner. And to speak of the potential of Ursa, he taps ahead and you see this brilliant tree that he has drawn. And around it, he's written all kinds of things. As he kind of passes it out, you see another vision of an emerald tree. The seasons change rapidly as years pass, and with each passing, the light dims of this emerald tree. It grows dull and the branches shatter into a pile of dull gray rubble, and in the mud it remains. However, in the rubble, beneath, an emerald seed twinkles faintly.
Just hearing.
Oliver just fell off the couch and it was so funny. He fell asleep and fell sideways off, rolling down the back of the couch. And it was really funny. Sorry.
Does that tree or seed look familiar to Nettie and I at all?
Looking familiar, I think, is difficult, but I think
we have amnesia.
It's difficult to like give any kind of inkling of familiarity in the interpretation of this, and like because parts of it are just like in like writing, like it's not even a picture or anything. Some of it is picture. The main tree was, but he more just kind of taps it like just like wondering, just kind of like ruminating.
I mean, all of her magic was, which I think, the more I think about it, we thought at first that her crystals were either like something inside of her or like something forcing her, or maybe that the little glob was the thing creating the magic within it. But now it seems like that is her energy and she's just trying to fight off. It sounds like one of these creatures might be trying to corrupt her. Well, not creature. I mean, I don't think it's a creature. It's the Hadar force, the spawn. She's fighting it off, but
the power of cosmic power is incredibly strong. It could certainly take from her subconscious mind and protect her and fight off a parasite, as is with the Hadar spawn. But if she's not strong enough to control either force, There's no real telling as to what could happen if she were to fall to its control. Hadar spawn with the power of, in that case, the manifestation of imagination. It could be devastating.
She's just a kid. Is there a way to... She's on an ice floe in the middle of nowhere right now. Is there a way to get her?
I will see to whatever information can be found immediately.
What's next for us, do you think?
I think next is understanding where we came from to plan where we go next. It will take me some time to assemble the pieces I need for you to experience the elements of the Genesis Cradle, the Prismic Society, the last days of the incursion. But you must experience it to know where we began, know where we came from, and how we feel. And in doing so, hopefully find a way to stop it this time. However, that will take a number of weeks. I think you will have time in the city to experience the city in itself. Take some time for yourselves. Who knows how much time we have until it is too late to have time. However, I will also point an element of your tale out as well. The containment in which you found in Blunderkull beneath the lava. Have you learned anything about that?
Just that we saw the chain, a huge chain to Crane and I, near the first rod that was corrupted. And then we saw this one, and then something broken. And there was like a octahedron.
It had a bunch of like abjurative runes on it. At least the side we could see. Kind of in lava. So couldn't
And
really...
then pure white sand inside it, as if maybe something broke out, or maybe something...
It was definitely like broken open, like something burst out from the inside. We didn't see that at the first sight, we just saw the chains. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Based on your description and my admittedly rudimentary understanding of this specifically, it would appear that the Hadar spawn are being kept in, now seeking out, the exile prison plane. Exile is a place, a specific place, used by the Watchers to store the worst of creature, monster, and abomination. The tenants of the Watchers do not allow them to kill. As such, this was an alternative to keep the darkness from really rearing its head.
I got a book about that actually. That's where remember how I said there was like, we saved some mushroom people? It was like in a tower that was like a watcher tower. What used to be. And then we met this guy who was like a ghost and he like was helping protect it. And I think he might have been one of them. He's pretty cool.
Precisely. The watchtowers are are typically the post-revival and post-dark age, post-incursion iteration of exile and their purposes. The pre-revival, pre-incursion was far more barbaric. It was known as exile. Unfortunately, the Prismic Society and the Watchers did not always see eye to eye. And admittedly, the Watchers still do not align with myself. Not from my side, I admit, but they take offense to my perceived power and misuse of it.
Wait, when we met with the weird otherworldly guy who worked for Hadar, he said we weren't of the same color. From what he was expecting, does that mean like you or like someone else?
A likely reference to our group.
That doesn't surprise me. He seemed really unimpressed with us. So that makes sense.
Admittedly, we were very impressive.
Yeah. That's why I think we need to find more of you guys. And like apparently you have like a whole lot of people, right? You're like a whole Infinite Alliance. There's gotta be like a lot of people you have to help with this, right? Right? It's not just 4 of us trying to fight a giant monster that's gonna consume the world. Okay.
It is not just the 4 of you. However, it is not as many as I would like. As I said when we first met, the Alliance has fallen from grace, so to speak. And it is not so simple to find new wielders of the power cosmic. It is exceedingly rare, and I have only ever met 5 others who wielded it.
Well, maybe you can meet us. It'll be 6.
To know that a new soul has been chosen to wield and bear this power would be a great boon. I will dispatch Isaac immediately.
Wait, give her I'll pull out the little I can't even remember what she made me. What did she make me? Was it a bird?
She made us bunnies. Don't know what she
made you
made
guys
you.
bunnies. Legitimately can't remember what it is she made me. I'll pull that off and give it to him to say like she almost didn't trust us. She's very wary. So maybe if you give her this and then say that Andy gave it to him.
He holds it and kind of holds it up to the light, and he regards it for a moment in the light, and he kind of opens the curtain a little to let the light of the noonday sun into it, and he is about to do something, and it says, cover your ears a moment. This will be very loud. And he says something, and it like quakes the entirety of the chamber, of the carriage that you're in. And you see like the window panes resonate and are shaking. The table quakes. The papers are thrown up into a massive burst. With your ears covered, you can still hear it, but it does not burst your eardrums as he speaks a single word of power. And into this, if it is a bird.
I don't remember.
Confirmed. My notes confirm it's a bird.
This emerald crystalline bird. You watch a radiance, and like, for those of you that can see it, it becomes a miasma of color and radiance, and you're uplifted like the exuberance of a child on Christmas morning. Like it just lifts your spirits, and you feel the presence of true manifestation of imagination, of this power and desire. Everything that you want can be real, can be made, can be presented to you in a moment. It is so uplifting and like heartwarming. And then it fades. And he looks down at it, and you see his eyes are red, teary-eyed. He hands it back to you.
Another wielder of imagination. There is hope for us yet.
Keep saying it. I keep saying it.
Very quickly, just to recap elements of the other visions, I'm going to drop them all into our brand new Discord chat. But I want to highlight for you the other visions that you would have had time to look over before I kind of wrap up this session. Actually, there's two things I need to wrap up this session. The Fall of the Night that you have seen. The Emerald Tree that you have now been told about, the spider you have seen. The blue blur was dictated to you. There are two more that have yet to really be talked about. This one you see is a blue threat level, and it kind of depicts what looks like the sun falling from the sky, perhaps an eclipse or perhaps a symbolic, description of nightfall, something like that. But as the sun descends, a crowd watches and seems to cheer its descent, the sounds of cheering jubilation. The light, though, becomes blinding, and just as it comes within grasp, the vision shifts so that it is not a sun, but a man, resplendent and radiant, a seeming sign of a savior in a time of great need. And the last is more visual in its representation. A young girl runs through a field of white flowers. Ahead of her, it's a black thorn bush. She spots the bush and stops, getting close and inspecting the sinister presence. With an outstretched finger, she reaches for a prominent thorn and gently taps the tip. Her shrieking wails turn the flowers to piles of festering rot. The skies above crack and shatter like glass, whose edges fall to meet the young girl's neck as the vision comes to a close. The rest of the visions you have seen or have been discussed, but with the warnings given by this being in potential, these 10 visions now hopefully clues to the past, present, and future, and how you can move forward collectively, both Ludomir and the four of you, and the Infinite Alliance as a whole. He urges you to dive into as much as you can about this exile prison plane, perhaps connecting with the Watchers in your time in Karden if you can find them. He will unfortunately be of no help in this regard, as that relationship is soured by significant time, but anything more you can learn about exile and how it contained the Hadar spawn, how they could have broken out of such a place after being contained for thousands of years. All that information will be of use to him. And lastly, as the day grows long, the carriages have moved, you guys are continuing through the day. This is hours of conversation. Food is brought. You have a kind of a lighter meal. As the night begins to kind of set about you, the sun grows low. Your party begins to kind of slow, and you're not quite dismissed so much as it's a mutual, that's a lot for a day. Let's go take a nap. Before you go, Ludomir looks at the four of you and the amassed mess that has been created in his cabin, in his carriage. It says, before you go, 1, a heartfelt appreciation for your forthrightness and willingness to take on this venture. It will not be easy, but I hope I will help in any way I can. And he sets forth 4 ring boxes, little boxes they open up. Identical rings. They're called Nexus rings if you want to look them up.
Ooh.
They appear mundane. The Nexus rings are presented to you. They have some fun ability, but they are connected to the Nexus as a whole. And if and when new visions will make their way to the receiving table, you will also receive them, alongside the ability to speak with any other bearer of a Nexus ring, as in the sending spell.
So cool.
He bids you farewell and to rest and think on kinder times, knowing that things are probably going to get darker before you get there. But your few days left to travel. You're welcome to have any conversations you want to have with one another. However, the travel back to Karden is swift, and there are few stops made along the way. Notably, the morning after you have this conversation, the second day of travel home, Isaac exits Ludomir's carriage and without a word to you takes off on his mount north and does not return for the journey. You're well fed on your journey home, and notably again, Ludomir does not speak to you for the entirety of the journey home. He keeps himself locked into his cabin carriage since your conversation. But nevertheless, you are well taken care of. The caravan careens on, and by the end of the 5th day, the first of Endel, the snow-dusted great walls of the capital draw close, and as the sun sets, gentle flurries fall. You cross the Pentagrin Bridge and once more find yourselves in the river ward of Karden. We'll pick up there next time.
Yay!